I am recording, so I'm just going to do the intro. Welcome to, well, I'm going to go to this one for the intro. We're in financial algebra and we're week 3. No, we're not. We're quarter 3 and we're week 2. And we're going to be talking a little bit about automobile ownership and the insurance side of it. Just a little bit, just touch on it. That's a lot of what, or some of what you're going to be doing for week 2. And so with that, let's go to answering the poll. I would like you guys to answer the poll. So pick your best answer. I'm going to make the poll big because I think that's a good idea. There. Now it's super big. So answer the poll. Ready, set, go. So far I only have one person who answered, but that's okay. It was a long one. Two people have answered. Three people have answered. Nice job, guys. That's as many answers as I was looking for. Perfect. So I like that. Oh, somebody else switched. Did it switch because I moved the thing? So someone's flipping back and forth. I see that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. Property damage insurance. Peter has $10,000 worth of property damage insurance. He collides with two parked cars and causes $12,000 worth of damage. How much money must Gary pay after the insurance company pays its share? Okay, and because this is one accident, the insurance company will only pay $10,000 out of their pocket. And so Peter would have to pay $2,000. If, however, he were in an accident and caused $5,000 worth of damage, drove down the road, got in another one, and we're talking property damage, and that would be, so it's not an accident, it's him doing something dumb. Like it's not two cars colliding, it's a car hitting a building, a car hitting a light pole. That's property damage, and that's the parked cars is considered property damage because the cars were parked, they were stationary and weren't meant to be moving. So the answer is that middle one. 10,000 insurance. Peter comes up with 2. Okay, so just a little bit of housekeeping. The weekly announcements is quarter 3 ends March 12th. MLK Day is next Monday, and there's no school, and it's a holiday. And then we have a teacher PD next Wednesday, so the labs are closed. Some of you have experienced that with us before, where the labs are closed, but students are still expected to do their work. And this webinar is canceled. And then in February, those are the closures, the school closings for February. So what I need you guys to do is step number 2 from the warm-up. Pick a poll, answer the poll, you did that. Pick a student pod and type your name in it. So ready, set, go. I'm gonna pick this one. Teacher. And if anybody ever wants to take over mine, you can. I don't care. And then we're going to talk about the discussion in a minute. Alexis and Allie, do you know how to activate your mic, and does it work? Sometimes if you haven't activated a mic before, it's a little bit frustrating the first time. So you guys can type your answers, and if you want to speak, then you can activate your mic. It looks like Allie's is active. Okay, so Allie's works. And so I'm just going to mute you, Allie, because otherwise it creates that reverberation. You can turn off your mic. So if you want to talk, then what I'll do is probably mute my mic, and then you can share. Anyway, so that's what we'll think about. We'll try it. And then in today's objectives, we're going to why we have insurance, how you find your financial responsibility in an accident, which you guys did pretty good at startup, and then determine what insurance you need, and determine your financial responsibility. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of insurances there are. Okay, so for right now, what I want to do is I want you to answer the discussion up top. What do you think? And if you want to just share your answer vocally, that's okay, but I still want you to spend 30 seconds thinking about it. And the green quote. The green quote. Okay, so I want you to think, do you have an example of why that statement? And so that's why I kind of want to have you share like out loud if you want to. Allie, do you want to speak? Donovan, do you want to speak? Someone's activating their mic.
Donovan, put your headphones on.
Okay, so Donovan, you're going to write, you don't want to tell us? Gateway.
See, I had a similar situation with that.
Okay, I need to mute my mic and then, okay, you're good.
Okay, like I was saying, my mom let me borrow her car, and I crashed it. Ah, okay, I thought it. Okay. And I wasn't in insurance, so I had to pay everything. Pretty much it.
That's really harsh.
I have to pay her $50 every check I get until I pay her all the $3,000.
Oh, wow.
It sucks.
And Donovan, you changed your mind? Or you just sharing on that? It is, it's crazy. Um, Anybody else have another idea about what it means? Never lend your car to anyone to whom you have given birth? I think that we could probably include either keeping it or, just borrowing it for go to the store or, going off to college. We can probably include all of that. And so if you have an example around just one of those types, that's fine.
Especially if you're not 18 yet.
Yeah.
It's not just the bill, though.
What about,
It's not.
and I'm waiting for Alexis to finish his. Okay, so you guys kind of looking at it in the financial aspect. What about just think about yourself. What if you borrowed your neighbor's car and went to the store and back? How would you drive? Or maybe you went to, let's just say, downtown Denver and back. Or if you borrowed your mom or dad's car and you drove to downtown Denver and back, would you be different?
Your microphone's not even on.
Okay, Alexis, you like driving a bit fast. Would you drive fast with your parents' car versus your neighbor's car? Would you drive differently?
Of course, you have to take care of what's not yours.
See, I'd like to think, when I was a teenager, I would have driven just as responsible with my parents' vehicle versus my neighbor's. Um, but I think when I was younger,
Oh, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I know what
okay,
you're saying. Okay. See, if you borrow your neighbor's car and if you like crash it or something, the insurance isn't gonna pay because you were the one driving and not the person who owns the car.
yeah, if you're not insured, and I don't know how all that insurance works out, but sometimes if you don't have insurance on yourself, then it won't cover it. But if the person has insurance on the car, I'll have to ask an insurance agent, when you do car insurance, is that for you or is that for the vehicle? Because I've been kind of told
It
both.
depends. If you get the personal one, it's you could drive any car
Okay.
and the insurance covers it. But if it's just the one, the car one, um the insurance. It depends whose name is under the insurance.
Oh, okay.
Like if I like the car I used to own, if it was under my name, it would cover everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so, sometimes there's those kinds of things that you have to worry about. Are you, Alexis, are you saying what she said? Okay, perfect. Um, and so, it's just it's important, and I'm wondering if Irma Bombeck is also just, like for me, I might leave trash in my mom's car, and then I wouldn't leave trash in my neighbor's car, or I mean, just even something silly like that. So good. So what I want to do is I want to go and I want to kind of talk about different insurance is a little bit, because there's two of them that like give me struggles. So I'm just gonna make this bigger, and I know I covered two of you, so I'm gonna move you. Move student two up here, and student three. I just moved you, so I have more board space. So we've all heard about liability, right? And so someone that's when we hurt somebody else or do property damage to something else, not us. And so there's bodily injury liability, where if somebody gets hurt because of our actions, then the insurance will cover it. And then there's property damage liability. And, if you're driving in really rich neighborhoods, that's really scary because lots of good stuff there. Uninsured or underinsured motorist protection, and that's when the other person's not insured. Your insurance company will still take care of everything. Personal injury is
Especially in one way.
what?
Especially in one way roads. That's when it's dangerous.
Yeah, one way roads are. When I first moved to Denver, I had one of those experiences. They were scary because downtown Denver has a
They
lot of
are.
one-way streets, and I wasn't used to that.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah, I
comprehensive
had to go pick up my
insurance.
grandma.
What?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. Comprehensive insurance is along the lines of also property theft and damage with your vehicle. So if I had something, um, if it gets vandalized or if hailstorms or, I mean, just like wasn't accident related, that's comprehensive. And I always thought comprehensive was something different, and it isn't. It's kind of like the outside elements take play on it. And then you have collision insurance, which is, if you get in an accident, they help take care of you too. And then emergency roadside service insurance. Those are things that I like. But, you just ask them what the extra premium is in case you're in a situation where you can't live without a car. And let's see. These two, let's see if I can get there. Oh, I have the wrong thing on. There we go. Change colors. These two coverages, um, depending on the worth of your vehicle, also depends on if they're super important. Because comprehensive, if your car crashed and you have $1,000 deductible and your car was worth say $2,000, maybe it's not worth paying that part of the insurance premium. Or collision, if they're going to be telling you, if your car gets totaled out and it's like $1,100, you're like, oh, well, it wasn't worth it. It's the liability ones that are really, really, really important. And the underinsured, um, these ones are also important because you want to make sure you're protecting your interests, your best interest in getting made whole. So let's look at something and let's see if you guys can get, if you know the answer. I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to read it and then I will let you have a minute to think through and to give the answer. Bob was in an auto accident caused by his negligence, so it's his fault. He has 100/300 bodily injury insurance. The three people injured in the accident sued. One person was awarded $140,000, and each of the other two was awarded $75,000. How much does the insurance pay? So my question to you, just real quick, is what I just underlined. What does that mean? Do you know?
One out of 300.
That was 100/300 mean.
100 out of 300. I said 1 out of 300.
Oh, okay. So you're thinking it might be people in 100 out of 300 what? What do you think that those numbers represent? That's okay not to know it, and it's just fine to guess it too.
I think they just pay a third
Oh, okay.
of the price.
Okay. And I would have had no clue. So I'm really glad you guys are even willing to guess because getting into insurance and at the get-go, I would have just had absolutely no clue. So good job guessing. So what it actually means is I like that Alexis and also was like 1 out of 3 of something, right? And so yeah, it is a ratio, and it's actually simplified from how big the ratio really was. 100,000 and 300,000. Now the 100,000 means per person.
Huh? Unless it has cheese.
Okay, and then the 300,000 means per accident. So, oops, I didn't spell per right. Okay, so the 100 is per person. And then, but what if I had like 10 people who were hurt and they all were hurt like $5,000 worth? Would they pay everybody?
No.
Actually, they would. They would. And that was the thing that I was a little confused because this isn't saying they're only going to cover 3 people, but they'll pay each person up to 100,000, and then once if they had to cover 3 people at 100,000, then they're done. But only one person, each person only gets up to $100,000. Okay, so with that, we're going to look at what they can cover. So let's do person one, number one. So his claim was 140,000. Does the insurance pay it all?
No.
What do you think? I heard you say no, Alondra, and that's a good answer. Why?
Because it's too much money.
It's too much money, but how much will they pay?
Like a third of it.
They'll actually cover up to 100,000, and I missed a zero, so I'm going to put it right here. They'll cover up to 100,000. If the insurance covered 100,000 of that person, what's our responsibility? Or Bob's. Bob's a good name, huh?
Pay the rest.
Bob has to pay, good Donovan, 40,000.
40,000.
Okay, so what about person number two? How much do they have to pay for person number two? Good, good, Alexis. It's 75, and we're going to put lots of zeros behind it. What about person number three? How much does the insurance, and we're going to put INS here. Will they cover anything for person number 3? Theirs would be 75,000 as well. Now I'm going to circle some cool
I was
stuff.
thinking of that. I wasn't sure though.
Yeah, and why weren't you sure? Like, what was making you hesitate?
I have no idea. See,
I was wondering because in case you had to add them both, but that doesn't seem to be.
Okay, so your probably has it.
150,000.
Yeah, and what we're looking at is 100 per person, and they didn't reach that 100, right? So the insurance covered them at a $75,000 on both of them,
So
and the reason why is because in the first claim as well, like how much does the insurance pay total? What do you guys think? For the total claim, how much does the insurance pay?
100,000.
And
$140,000. That's what I'm looking at.
okay, you see my purple color? It's kind of a cool purple color. They cover the $100,000
Oh, I see.
for person 1. They cover 75,000 for person 2. And they cover, I'm getting used to this. And then they cover 75,000 for person 3 as well.
So in total, it's like 1,200 and
Oops, totally back.
150,000. Wait, I mean 150,000.
So 150,000 over here. But then they also covered the first 100,000 of that first guy. So our total is 250,000. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? It's a little weird, but kind of makes sense. Okay, so this is the last problem we're going to work on, and then we'll be done. So she has 50 slash 100,000, which means 50 per person, 100 per accident. And she hurt 200 or 28 people riding the school bus. Each child is awarded $10,000. As a result of the lawsuit, how much will the insurance pay in total for this lawsuit?
Just like half of it.
What? You can use a calculator.
So it's gonna be like 280,000 with all the kids together. That's a 280, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing insurance will only pay 14. I divide it in half.
Why did you divide in half?
Because I saw the fraction on the top, 50 out of 100.
Yeah, Alexis, you can go. Yeah. Okay, and I like that when you said that, I'm like, oh, that would be a common,
He's elected.
it'd be a common error, just not, I mean, because we're new to insurance, right? So common error. So what that means is 50,000 per person. Bring them back in per person, and then it's 100,000 max. So what that means is the insurance company will only pay up to $100,000. Does that kind of make sense? So insurance will pay $100,000. How much is the person going to be responsible for?
1,800.
Yeah, you got one more zero. So it was 180. Nice job. Okay, does that kind of make sense? So that fractiony thing is really like, it's kind of weird. But you kind of get what it means now? A little bit.
So the denominator is the maximum of what the insurance.
Yeah, and what I want you to think of this fraction bar here, you see, I want you to think of that as, I don't even know how to like think of that. Because you have to think of it just kind of, it's someone's shorthand is what it is. Somebody's shorthand where they said, okay, the first one means number of per person. I missed an S, person. And then this one is per accident. Because the insurance wants to limit their financial liability for each accident. And so like the second number is how much the insurance will pay at most. Like if somebody were to get injured but and need 150,000, there's one person, they're not going to pay that much. They'll pay only 50,000 on a person. And so it's just it's a little different, a little interesting, but seeing things I've seen, I think the the one I have I think is 100/300. So 100,000 per person, cuz holy cow, those medical bills can just rack up really quickly. If you hurt somebody in an accident, it's really expensive. So good job, guys. You guys have any questions for me? Okay. Okie dokie, artichokes. Good job. And good job doing your mics, guys. That was like more interesting for me. I like hearing your voices versus waiting for you to type because sometimes I think people get frustrated with typing, or if not, I like to hear your voices. Alrighty, be good.